A judge in Michigan has ruled that a man who wants to carry his gun into his daughter's school can do so, even though the state has a ban against it. Now, this is a very, very complicated story, and the ruling is maddening to say the least, but it all revolves around a man by the name of Kenneth Herman. Now, Kenneth Herman was kicked out of his daughter's school multiple times because he wanted to carry his gun openly. But it turns out that even though the state will allow the schools to kind of make decisions about the safety of their own children, this one particular judge has, I guess, interpreted the law in a different way. So, according to reports, Genesee Circuit Judge Archie Hayman on Monday, August 10th, ruled in favor of Kenneth Herman, who filed the lawsuit on March 5th in Genesee County Circuit Court against the Clio Area School District after he was denied access to Edgerton Elementary multiple times while attempting to pick up his daughter because he was open carrying a pistol. Now, why did this ruling happen? Well, state law prevents people from carrying concealed firearms on school property. However, the law allows individuals with concealed pistol licenses to openly carry their firearms in schools. Herman happens to have that type of license, so he's able to do it. So it's a loophole in the law that he gets to take advantage of. And in this case, the judge essentially said, well, state law supersedes any type of policy a school district could possibly have. So sorry, he gets to carry his gun openly onto the campus.
That is a weird loophole, right? If you have a concealed carry permit, you're allowed to carry in openly, a non-concealed fashion. Okay, then why are you calling it concealed carry? Okay. Now, look, this is another symptom of our insanity, and that's where we are today. If you had told me many years ago, oh, at some point America will devolve to the point where they're letting parents bring in guns to elementary schools, I would say that sounds fanciful.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
right.
And that's not going to happen. But everything that we thought couldn't happen has happened.
So here's the question that I want to ask him, right? Why? Why? Why do you want to go pick up your daughter with your gun, like, flinging around everywhere? Like, why? Why does he feel the need to have his gun? He can't leave the gun in the car for 2 to 5 minutes so he can go pick up his daughter and go home. Why do you want to carry a gun on campus so badly? Look, I am not in favor of banning guns, right? I think that common sense gun legislation needs to take place. But there's no reason for this other than I'm a gun nut. I want to make a point about how much I love guns. I freaking masturbate to my guns every day. I want to go onto a school campus with a gun. Here's the thing. If I'm a parent and I have my kid going to that school, I'm not going to feel comfortable knowing that parents can just walk in there with their guns hanging out and not have to, have to worry about whether or not they're good people with a gun or bad people with a gun. You have no idea. How do you differentiate between two people that are carrying guns openly?
I don't know other parents with anything hanging out at the elementary school. Okay.
True.
And as a parent, it would scare me to death because the person who brings a gun to the elementary school is a person who can't wait to use that gun, right? Because there's no reason to bring it to an elementary school. What do you got to do? Regulate against a second grader or a second grader's parents? Or is there an epidemic of bad guys breaking into second grade? And what, doing muggings? No, not really, no. Mm-hmm. No, he's, in case there's a random shooting, he's ready. In case there's any violence, he's ready. But what that means is he's reaching for that. He can't wait to reach for that gun. Now, if you ask him, he's going to say, no, absolutely not. I'm a responsible gun holder and blah, 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 blah. But they all think they're responsible until they shoot themselves in the nuts. Yeah. And then we do that story, and then they go, oh, that's an exception. Then they shoot themselves in the foot or in the head, or that the kid picks up the gun and then he uses it, or that guy gets angry and uses it against a family member, or he gets angry, God forbid, inside the school, my kid's in that school. Now, I can't have it. That's why there's the rule in the school, don't bring guns to school because it's going to cause trouble.
Right.
Okay? But the country's lost its mind, and we're outvoted. And so, kind of. I mean, we're outmoneyed more than anything else. But in this case, in this state, he's going to get to bring his gun to school. And if you got a kid in that school, you got to be worried to death every day because his so-called rights trump all of your rights. Your rights to have some sort of peace of mind when you send your kid to elementary school, don't care, man. We have this insane interpretation of the Second Amendment that dude is somehow part of a well-regulated militia and that him bringing it to it, not only having the right to have a gun, even though he's not in a well-regulated militia, and the amendment is goddamn clear on it. It says, as part of a well-regulated militia, he's not in a militia, doesn't matter, I got my rights. Not only do I have those rights, I got the rights to have my gun next to your elementary school student's kid's head. I'm going to send my kid there, and you're going to be carrying a gun right next to his head, and I know that you're a guy who can't wait to use it because you're a lunatic who likes to show his gun around everywhere, right? This is the fucked up country we live in now.